Dare to Dream is not a program, but it is a process. It is a journey. It is our time to examine where Trinity has been, where Trinity is, and where Trinity is going. This slide indicates that Trinity basically has arrived at a point where it is not going behind, but it's not moving forward. As we compare 2012 with 2013, you'll notice that basically we've really not moved anywhere significantly, and what statisticians would just say is that we are flatlined. We need to remember that in Revelations, Jesus tells the churches, don't be hot or cold. Get off the fence. Move one way or the other. And I think that's one of the challenges that we are facing right now is that we need to quit straddling the fence, and we need to move forward with what God is calling us to do. There's a lot of strengths that Trinity has. And when we telescope from the past, looking into the future, we can see that Trinity has really been cutting edge in many ways, such things as diversity. This is a church that accepted mixed races when it wasn't popular, when it was looked down upon. But that just indicates the welcomeness that Trinity has. And, when I've talked to people about Trinity, especially our visitors, one of the things they talk about is how welcoming the people are and the family feel that the church has. But with every strength, we also need to consider the areas of improvement. And certainly, we just look around the congregation and see that the average age of the congregation is getting older. Not only is the congregation getting older, the facilities are aging, and they are requiring more upkeep, which doesn't come cheap. Also, we have to consider some other things like our location. Is this the right location for Trinity? If it is the right location, then what do we need to do as far as changes, such as to our facilities in the area of youth and children? And of course, like a lot of churches that are in transition, we have to consider the staffing. Do we have the right staff? Do we have the right size staff? So these are areas that we're just going to have to take the time to think through. Now, there are also transitional challenges related to our community. We are a changing community. Lexington is growing. Lexington is changing. We also have to consider the fact that we are in what's called the post-Christian era, which deals with the relevancy of the church. It used to be that people would come into a town and they would look for the school, the grocery store, and a church. Now, people come in, they look for the school, the grocery store, the mall, so many other things. And somewhere down the line, church becomes something that they may or they may not seek. Use of technology. It was a day when everything was closed on Sunday. Now people are having to work on Sundays because they don't have a choice. Well, then how do we get the worship service to them through technology? So these are some challenges that we're just going to have to see as opportunities. Dare to dream. That's what we're talking about. Dreaming about the possibilities. In 1946, somebody dreamed about this church, and they dreamed about this location, and they dreamed about what could God do. This is our time to dream again about what God is doing in Trinity and what God wants Trinity to be about. So this is an introspective journey where we're going to explore who we are as a congregation. We're going to be looking inwardly. How is God dealing with us as individual Christians and as a congregation? It's going to be a spiritual journey where we discover the power of God and the power that He is putting into us to be the church that He desires us to be. And it's going to be a journey which helps us to see a fresh vision that will guide us into the future. We don't need to see this as an expense. We need to see this as an investment. The cost is $4,300. It's not $4,200 as the slide shows, but it is $4,300. But this is an investment into Trinity, into Trinity's future. When Trinity was started in 1946, it just didn't spring up. People had to make an investment, and we need to make that investment now. I need you to begin thinking about this idea. Imagine the possibilities. People have said that one of their favorite songs is "I Can Only Imagine." Well, what can you imagine about Trinity? $4,300. What can you imagine that God can do with Trinity into the future as we invest that money? Here's who our our leader is going to be, our trailblazer, Dr. Steve Spangler. I will tell you that Steve and I have been friends for a number of years. The person who introduced me to this process was Steve Spangler at another church. And Steve and I have talked often about this, especially as I was doing my work in leadership. You can see Steve's brief resume. He has a background in this. He is excited. Steve and I have talked about this process many times. He's excited about coming alongside us in this journey and being our trailblazer, and you will just absolutely adore Steve. I can promise you that. But again, I want you to imagine the possibilities. I want you to dream with me again about what Trinity is and what Trinity can be, and how Trinity is going to become the vibrant church that God has called it. Again, this is not a process, or this is not a program. This is a process. And I look forward to walking this journey with you. And I hope that you will be excited about coming alongside and journeying with everybody else as we dare to dream about Trinity Baptist Church moving forward with a fresh wind and a fresh fire in the Lexington community.